Back in the days when knighthood was in flower and all steel tailoring was in fashion, the ancients had their own method of persuading prisoners to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. History calls it the Inquisition, but to the third-degree experts of that day, it was known as trial by torture. By any name, it was a drastic means of fact-finding, and usually the questionee gave up not only his secrets, but also an eye, a couple of fingers, or perhaps a half a dozen teeth in the bargain. Brutal and how, but unapproached as a method of bringing out the truth. Today, the most modern automotive engineering science has borrowed some of the technique of the ancient art of the Inquisition. Now, in the most advanced engineering laboratory of all motordom, brutal abuse, reminiscent of centuries ago, is utilized in the constant quest for new materials and new methods of building finer performing, safer, and longer-lived motor cars. To maintain Plymouth's preeminence as the outstanding car in the lowest priced field, a corps of skilled specialists are always at work, putting Plymouth cars to the most punishing tests, proving their fitness and finding new avenues to progress through the medium of the trial by torture. To demonstrate to the motoring public the extra margin of strength and stamina built into its cars, Plymouth has made a practice of subjecting its products to performance stunts without parallel in the history of motoring. Year after year, professional daredevil drivers have performed feats with them that have brought thrills and chills to millions, and have brought a new admiration and respect for the ability of these cars to absorb abuse. Indeed, through the years, Plymouth cars have practically exhausted the imagination of even the most ingenious stunt experts. And now, with the new Plymouth, the peak of perfection, finer, stauncher, and safer than any other car in all Plymouth history, it would seem that Plymouth finds itself in the unique position of having no more worlds to conquer. Surely no motorist could conceive of any test of strength and stamina, any program of punishing performance, which these cars have not already breezed through. Ah, but you've reckoned without Jimmy Lynch. He's mild enough in appearance, but actually Jimmy is a direct descendant of that playful fellow you saw with the red-hot poker. Engineers may have their scientific methods of revealing a flaw or a failure, but Jimmy's third degree borders on murder. This doesn't count. It's just a limbering up exercise, a bit of shadow boxing before the main bout. Jimmy's program is deliberately designed to beat the wheels off, to tear up the springs, twist the frame, and crush the body into crumpled wreckage, and he'll do it, if he can. Most of the sensational new advancements which the new Plymouth brings to motoring are obvious to all motorists. 5 minutes behind the wheel will give you an appreciation of its glorious power and performance, its remarkable driving and riding ease, its smartness and luxury. But no motorist could learn as much about Plymouth's dependability and ruggedness in years as Jimmy Lynch can prove in one afternoon. For instance, what normal motorist would ever consider putting his car to such a test as this? Indeed, who would believe that any automobile could travel across this succession of railroad ties and keep its wheels? Now, you get a better appreciation of the punishing pounding which tires, wheels, springs, and axles must stand. Every railroad tie strikes a pile driver blow, yet the car takes it, yes, and likes it. As a modern expert of the Inquisition, Jimmy has no difficulty in making his victim talk. And what an inspiring story this car has to tell. A story of strength and stamina that stands up even under excruciating torment. That a man could perform this succession of stunts in a motor car and live is in itself most remarkable. That a motor car could take this beating and live to drive away under its own power is nothing short of a miracle wrought in steely strength. Now for the supreme test. Did you ever see an automobile run upside down? Well, watch this. Here he comes, up the ramp. There it goes with full weight on its top. Now, up on its wheels again and away. Dented and scratched, of course, but you'd expect it to be crushed like a candy box. You wouldn't believe any car could survive that plunge, and indeed mighty few could. It takes the strength of safety steel body, tough steel reinforced by steel, to bring you out of a tumble like that. Well, what's the matter, Jimmy? Looks like the driving demon has met more than his match. This new Plymouth appears to be able to take more punishment than even his inspired imagination can devise. Oh, but that isn't the end of the trial by torture. In fact, it's only the beginning. Here's Lucky Teeter, the old maestro of motor car mutilation, holder of 9 world's records in assorted hell driving. Probably many of you have seen his daring demonstrations of death driving around the country. For years he's been staging his carnival of crashes, always trusting his life to Plymouth. Now, this acknowledged world champion automobile mauler rises to new heights of daredeviltry to give the new Plymouth the works. No automobile ever was built to stand up under such super abuse. Motor cars are designed for the highway and the boulevard, not for such a circus of heartbreaking hammering as this. Indeed, you wouldn't expect even an army tank to survive the twisting, wrenching, crushing blows which Teeter heaps on this car. After a few minutes of watching Teeter at his favorite pastime, you may have some doubt as to his sanity, but you must admire his courage. And certainly you've got to take your hat off to the car that can live through this storm of abuse. What's this all about? Probably putting in a call to the nut farm. And at that, you couldn't blame him much. Uh-oh, look who's here. And small wonder. Because when anyone starts turning handsprings with an automobile, you naturally expect a finish to slow music and many flowers. Step on it, boys. We want to be there in time to pick up the pieces. Nowadays, almost all cars are trying to imitate Plymouth's hydraulic brakes. But here is a test of Plymouth's genuine hydraulic brakes that few cars would dare try. Every part of the car must share in this brutal program of punishment. Wheels, axles, frame, and body. All are subjected to strains undreamed of in normal motoring. Indeed, all the dubbed drivers in America couldn't give this car as much mauling in a year of ordinary driving as Lucky Teeter dishes out in this one demonstration of daredeviltry. How much longer can it stand up? How long before even this car's steely strength must yield under the heartbreaking abuse? Imagine yourself strapped in that car beside Lucky Teeter, bucking, leaping, and plunging like an inspired rodeo bronco. You know and I know that Teeter is not deliberately trying to break his own neck. We may, and with adequate reason, suspect him of being just a little crazy. But he isn't crazy enough to take a chance on a car unless he has the utmost confidence in its ability to carry him through. Before he embarked on this tour of torment, Lucky Teeter inspected the new Plymouth with the critical eye of one whose life depends a dozen times a day upon the unyielding strength and stamina of the car he drives. And when you're earning a living by risking your life, you become very critical indeed. What Teeter found in the design and construction of the Plymouth gave him the confidence to put this new car through performance feats never attempted before with any automobile. Tough luck, boys. Looks like you've lost a crash customer. And you'd lose a lot more of them, too, if all cars were built with the same rugged protection as this Plymouth. For this car has brakes that avoid accidents. Genuine hydraulic brakes, perfected by more than 10 years of constant development and improvement. And in the event of unavoidable motoring mishap, it shields its passengers with a mighty armor. Not merely a metal shell, but heavy steel reinforced by steel, welded together into one solid unit of unyielding strength. Plymouth's famous steel body. Of course, no motorist ever would dare to attempt to duplicate Lucky Teeter's death-defying program through choice.